Yeah.
But those guys came from a kind of classical Western art tradition, and then they somehow figured out how to translate it into illustration and thus comics. That's my world, you know.
Cool. So where did you start art? So you've been doing this for a really long time.
Well, yeah, to be really honest with you, that was, as a kid, this was the job that I wanted, you know. I can remember, you know, of course I collected comics, and I got together, at a certain age, I got together like a manila envelope of my best drawings, and I sent it to John Byrne, you know, via Marvel Comics, you know, with a letter of like heartfelt, oh my, you know, this is all I ever wanted in my life. And I never got an answer back, you know, but I didn't get crushed by that or anything. And anyway, like once I hit, I don't know, sort of age 14, you know, I started learning guitar, and I thought, you know, girls are more impressed by rock and roll than comics. So I kind of, you know, I sort of drifted away, you know, and then I went into that direction, and I'm a musician. And, in fact, actually I have I've got a new song that I'm recording with my band called Thought Police, and it's kind of a Kekistan anthem song. It's like a really cool, kick-ass kind of song that you would want to share with your red pill friends.
Well,
and I'll shoot you a link to that. You can put it in, you know.
Are you going to do a cover of Chatelet?
Ooh, only Chatelet can do Chatelet, so I'll. But you'll you know, the version that I have right now is just like a raw basement version where I'm actually going into the studio tonight to start doing like the clean version. So
you have a studio?
Well, you know, if you've got a computer, you've got a studio when it comes to music. But the guitar player has a kind of an attic studio with, you know, 10,000 gadgets and guitars and drums and stuff. And we just.
What do you play?
Oh, well, I'm a bass player, vocalist. So, yeah, I mean, I do play acoustic guitar. I used to be kind of a hippie back in the day, and then I lost my hair. But then you lose your ability to be a hippie after that. But anyway, so I'll send you the music, and then, you know, once we get like a really good, clean version of the song with some nice special effects and great drums and all that, then I'll send you the updated version.
What are you recording? I'm a music guy too, so it's yeah. So I just play at my church every weekend these days, but I want to get back to making music also at some point.
Yeah. Well, my guitar player, I think he does it might be Cubase or Logic Pro. That's I believe a Mac based software, but he's the recording guy. You know, I'm the bass. I'm just the bass player. You know, cool. But yeah, so I don't know. You know that, and then I went to college for art. I had a fine art degree. I moved to Japan, and I did an exchange program to learn traditional Japanese art, which is called sumie, which is just, you know, ink wash paintings. And I studied, you know, philosophy, martial arts, other things. And, you know, moved to New York City. And at that time, it still didn't really click to me. Like, I'm in New York City. I could be applying for Marvel or DC. At the time, they were still cool. You know, they weren't over. This is long before the SJW invasion. And, but, you know, I was really focused on martial arts and learning Chinese and all kinds of stuff, girls and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But anyway, when I lived in Taiwan, I taught English in Taiwan for 4 years. And, you know, you try to imagine teaching English to people who are learning English. You know, it's quite hard. So I would draw pictures on the board, you know, and I discovered the power of the visual language helped me a lot.
Absolutely.
And of course, you know, they love the manga over there in Taiwan as well. So that just all kind of came together. I thought, bing, you know, comics. Yeah, I could do educational comics. So I you know, went back to school when I came back to America. got a teaching degree, a master's degree in educational technology, and did a lot of research on how comics can be used in the classroom, and actually the neurological processing in the mind of how we take apart language and images and then put them back together neurologically. And it's a fascinating field that not a lot of people are aware of. Hope I'm not getting too academic, but it's quite cool stuff. We
like to get academic around here. We try to have a deeper stream than most of the other streams, so we get into the minutia of our topics a little more. It's kind of fun.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
So I could go on and on. I don't know how long the show is, but
I don't know. I try to limit it to an hour, and I'm running a little late, which is my own fault, not your fault, unfortunately. But we're cool. So we connected through like a conservative comic group because we're both on Red Team, and I saw you were doing. I actually saw you were doing your Golden Age stuff, which I liked a lot. And I mentioned, I think, wait a minute, we were on Will Callaghan's. This is what happened. We were on Will Callaghan's wall.
Is that how it all started?
Will was talking. I'm remembering this now. Will was talking about doing a Golden Age sort of thing, and I was like, I'd like to write Golden Age, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And I came up with a concept for Will, and then we started talking in PM, and then you showed me your old Golden Age stuff, and I'm like, I'll get around to writing one of these Golden Age things eventually. I'll talk to you later. That's how we met. Yeah.
And I do remember, when you sent me that, it's sort of a short with Flying Sparks and Dynamite Thor. And I'm like, bing, that's like the jump off point for this character,
Yeah. So for those who backed Flying Sparks, you got an email with a short story, which is Metagirl meets Dynamite Thor. And Dynamite Thor has always been in the back of my mind. I've wanted to do this for a long time. And that's why it's got, we've said it, I guess we should talk about the character. The original character, is Dynamite Thor. And the name is very stupid sounding. And it sounds so stupid because you're immediately envisioning Thor, the god of thunder or whatever, right? But it has absolutely nothing to do with that. The character's last name just happens to be Thor.
And he was long before, and he was long before Thor. Like he was
way before,
probably 10 years earlier. So it's kind of funny, but yeah.
Peter Thor, like it's literally Peter Thor, and the guy is immune to explosives. Is his deal? There's no origin. They don't have an origin story for him. He just exists. He's immune to explosives. Yeah. And he just chucks dynamite at people,
and like gangsters, in that kind of like 1930s gangster age, that's. But I love how like his real life, he's sort of this debonair guy with this really beautiful woman, and he takes her to like balls and these kind of sort of nice. That's a neat thing.
He's got his lady, and she's always like, I really wish you were like that Dynamite Thor. He's so heroic. And he's like, and it's even funny. And it's like Superman, as he's like, he doesn't even wear a mask. He's just, it's like,
I know. I've never understood that. I mean, I don't know. I'm into masks and capes and all that stuff. But now our Dynamite Thor is the grandson of
right. So I took it that is our continuity. And I stole this idea of like the family dynasty of a Golden Age character from a man you might know named Chuck Dixon. You've probably heard of him. So he did this book called Airboy, which you've also probably heard of.
I've got a couple in my collection. I'm friends with Graham Nolan, who believe it or not only lives like 20 minutes from me right now.
It's great. So basically, Chuck did this concept where it was like it's Airboy's son, and he's kind of interacting with these people from the old Airboy day and it's a very fun story. So I'm like, okay, well, son doesn't work these days. We can do grandson, and it's probably even great grandson if we're honest about it, but we'll leave it. And I took it, and I always thought Dynamite Thor was funny, and I always thought about it in context with suicide bombings, because obviously Dynamite Thor in such an instance would be fine.
You walk right in here and take care of business, you know.
So I immediately went to this like Iraq War narrative with it, and it's been percolating in my head for 10 years, and it was a little more timely back then. But I still think it works really well as a setting, because we still have a bunch of like no bid contractors and things like that hanging out in Iraq, even though we quote are not there anymore.
Yeah.
And so it still makes sense. And there's still a lot of terrorism over there. There's still a lot of weird things over there. There's a lot of ancient Mesopotamian religions, secrets in history there that we can draw upon for things.
Right.
And so I thought it'd be fun to have this guy be a demolitions contractor. It makes sense that he does demolitions because he can't get hurt in it. And then just sort of rediscover his sort of heritage, which he knows about, but has just kind of let linger for a while. And that's where we begin our story in earnest in this. That's our character. I don't think we need to go further into it than that at the moment.
Oh really? Oh man,
Do you want me to go further into it? What do you want to say?
Little eggs or little teasers of some kind, Let me ask
you. Show the pages.
What, like, who's thinking? Yeah, I guess I did, but I mean, that's not the whole thing. But I think as an artist, I always try to kind of add a little bit or put little Easter eggs in the story visually. For example, the kind of villain guy that wakes up the demon, he's got sort of like almost what would look like. I
saw the little patch, right?
Yeah. Like a Nazi patch.
Yeah.
And I mean, I thought I don't want to use the moon star of Islam directly, but I inverted it, and the star I used the upside down star of like Satanism.
Yeah, because we've got a mystic thing going on in it too. Yeah,
right, and that's coming down the pipeline. If people want more of this, then we're gonna open that up more.
Yeah, there's a lot of depth that I love this, and I was reading. I've started reading the old Spider-Man stuff, right? Because of the Stan Lee death, and I just wanted to get back to that and sort of like just remember. And it's so beautiful in that you can tell I feel like everybody plans a little too much these days, maybe, that there's no spontaneity to it. And you have a story arc. It's like, it's going to be 6 issues. This is going to be point A, point B, point C, point D, and that's going to be it. And the way that it sort of, it takes away some of the fun in the way that they used to do things. You could tell that Stan Lee and Steve Ditko did not plan the next issue whatsoever while they were in that last issue. Yeah. And yet at the same time they'll draw upon it, like Aunt May's doesn't like Spider-Man here, so now she interacts with Joe Jameson here, and it builds. But they go back. It's like they go back and read it afterwards. Go, this is a cool element, and they actually add that in a spontaneous manner. And that's what I want to do with this.
I feel like that's actually how life works, though, too, right? I mean, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, but tomorrow or next week you're going to reference, there's this a guy I know I need you to meet, or I should get back to doing that thing because there's this opportunity, and it has a kind of a natural flow to it, which I think is nice. Now, I do have a question for you, actually.
Sure.
On behalf of the audience. Is there any chance of any other characters from either your universe or from the Golden Age possibly appearing in the future stories of Dynamite Thor?
I haven't gotten that far yet. It's very possible, though. I enjoyed the Metagirl interaction because I could play the ridiculousness of Dynamite Thor, and then I have kind of the straight man, which is her, where she's like, "What the heck are you doing?" And I thought that was very funny.
Right, there's a good literary device there,
Yeah. But I don't know. I love our CIA agent lady that we don't develop all that much but she's in this story, and she's the type of character that I love to take a little further. And there's a lot of good Golden Age spy and agent superhero or agent stories that go on back in the day that they really don't make books like that anymore. And I'd love to push a little further in that direction.
I love it. What do you? I mean, if you could compare her to, a character on a TV show or a movie, who does she remind you of?
Who does she remind me of?
Yeah,
I don't know. So what I did here is I actually took somebody with sort of like Persian features because she'd be better in that sort of environment. You don't really have that on TV so much.
Yeah.
But I was working on having an agent, like in our original Golden Age concept with the Wilk was I was trying to bring back who am I bringing back? I was trying to kind of bring back that Agent 99, like Barbara Feldon from Get Smart. You know what I'm talking about?
She's she's sort of snappy and
right,
well dressed and that kind of yeah.
Yes. So she was the straight man in that relationship with Maxwell Smart, and I love that dynamic, and I love the snappy wittiness too. So yeah.
So, like, could you describe for the readers a little bit more about Peter Thor and like what kind of guy is he? Like, is he a guy you could have a beer with, or like is he more like political? What's his angle?
This Peter Thor he's like an idealist guy. He's going to be like severe optimist. Just nice. Thinks he can solve everything all the time, and he can solve it with explosions.
That's good. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that? I mean, punches are outdated. I'm punching problems away. That's obsolete.
Yeah, solve every problem with explosions.
And I mean, Jon, just for the reader or the viewers again, Jon and I have had chats about like, what can you do with dynamite? Like what kind of physics can we, like comic book physics, And I had this idea of like him, like kind of putting it between his hands and sort of, projecting out the Jon had this brilliant idea. Well, no, I don't know. I guess it comes from the comic where he stands on a stick of dynamite, which like accelerates him into the air, right? And that's kind of how
they kind of did that in the original comic, like a little bit. Like it depended on the comic. It really went back. They had 4 comics. I think it was 4 of Dynamite Thor back in the day, and like one of them was just like straight up. He's got a stick of dynamite and he's throwing it at a mobster. One of them, like he is just propelling himself through the air with dynamite, and it's just like it's so absurd because like he's got like a belt of dynamite, and if he was, just it doesn't work, right? Because if you blow up all of them, it'd be over, right? But
there you go. There's a whole tongue-in-cheek kind of like this is a superhero world.
But I don't care, right? I just think it's funny. Yeah. So
right, and I think that's why people are going to buy the book. Honestly, I think because it's fun and it goes back to that kind of whatever that spirit is, the sort of the spirit of fun,
So yeah, and in future books, I've talked to you about this too. I want to introduce a villain who has the same power as him, who is the undying suicide bomber. He's the. I thought about this when I was driving in a car one day, and I was sitting there like, I was talking to a buddy about it, and I'm like, what if there's like a help wanted ad for suicide bombers, and it's like experience necessary.
Oh my God. Yeah. But, we're running out. This is like a high turnover kind of job, like people show up and then they leave. It's like,
you never see them again. What the heck?
Yeah. I mean, Craigslist is blowing up with jobs for that. You should know. Yeah, I love it. I mean, in my mind right away, I'm extremely imaginative, and I can already see this guy, and I can
you can already see an epic fight, like where it's like, I'm going to blow you up.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, I feel like I've got my little Mego toys here, and I'm kind of going again. But I mean, as a villain, what do you think might be? I don't know if you've thought about this, but like, what might be his backstory? I mean, is he from the Middle East? Is he does he have a kind of a religious bent to him where he's sort of...
Yeah, I would think so. I was probably going to tie it into like Iran. And you're not allowed to do that sort of thing in comic books.
Right.
So that's why I like doing that.
And do it with a sense of comedy as well, which is more like outrageous,
Totally not allowed to do that. It is very serious stuff,
Yeah.
I want to do that.
That could segue into a whole political discussion, the insanity of that world and how just off the wall it is. And
well, you're not allowed to basically the way comics work now, it's like you're not allowed to show like Islamists as bad guys. It's like you're not. It's just insane. So.
It's obviously, I'm gonna flip a coin on the whole SJW thing. They always say, "Oh, comics have always represented the world that we live in and the political changes." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're representing the cutting down people's freedom of speech by saying that you're representing fake news by not showing like how insane these particular people are and how we as a nation
a nondescript man ran over people with his truck today."
It's there's we could go on and on about that. So maybe that's an interesting topic. Is I started artwritmagazine.com and I interviewed you there. You're actually featured on the main page there. I urge everybody to go check that out. Then I'll have to get you the link.
What's the link again?
artwritmagazine.com.
And threw that in the chat.
Yeah, and it's
I spelled it wrong though. What's
Art Right Magazine?
I got to spell magazine right.
Or magazine. Get it? Wink, wink. Make America Great Again. Sorry. But anyway, where am I going with this? So, I wanted to get some kind of a fanzine going for ComicsGaters. People like us who have been, doxxed or harassed in some way and don't fit that insane mold of promoting all this leftist ideology. I haven't had time really to continue doing my interviews there, just because I'm working on Dynamite Thor. But there are several interviews and reviews there of other guys. Will Callaghan's on there. People need to go check it out, and they can get a couple nice little vloggy interviews and stuff. But yeah, I haven't been able to follow what's been going on with you in ComicsGate. I know there's the Ethan Van Sciver debacle. I
don't understand that. I don't want to make my stream about that, unfortunately. I'm just doing my thing with my comics, with my political commentary, and I'm leaving that to them. So they can enjoy that. But yeah, it's been an unfortunate few weeks, but I don't think the audience cares, and that's what I'm getting out of this. Is like, I get a lot of messages from readers, and they're just like, we just want comics. We don't want any of the nonsense. And I'm like, all right, that's good feedback, because I'll just keep making comics, and that's what you got to do.
It seems to me that's actually the bottom line of the whole thing, right? I mean, my comics, like the American Zarathustra, is pointedly political, socio-political, I should say. But everybody's on different ranges and what they're doing. What's going on with like Vox Day and what he's putting out? Is he putting out any new stuff that you want to?
Yeah, so Arkhaven and Dark Legion are putting out comics almost every week. I mean, they're actually a real big time publisher now, and not getting credit for it. I mean, it's very hard to not only putting out a comic monthly is hard enough. Like, I'm not even in a space where I can do that. And I know you and I want to eventually get to a point where we can even ourselves just do a monthly comic book. I don't even think I could write a monthly comic book fast enough, let alone dry one.
That's a lot of work.
You probably need to hire an inker at that point, at the very least.
I really wish I could. I just throwing that out there. Anybody who is a good inker, reach out to me. Let's see if we can talk. It just would save me time, and I can, crush out a lot more pages that way. So
absolutely. But Vox is doing almost weekly comics. I mean, we got stuff coming out. Right Ho Jeeves with Chuck Dixon and Gary Kwapitz just wrapped up issue number 6.
What's it about? I had a look at it briefly, and it just seemed really neat. It's just very different.
Yeah, it's an adaptation of a book by P.G. Wodehouse from the 1930s. He was a sort of political philosopher, comedian person who just kind of mocked British society a little bit. And so it's a British aristocracy society farcical piece.
Wow!
So it's just very fun. I mean, you wouldn't expect to see this out of a comic company, but it's amazing that they're doing this.
And it kind of brings back memories of things like Faulty Towers and Blackadder, and I've always had a place in my heart for the British comedies and those things.
Yeah, definitely. And Chuck and Gary did an amazing job of that. So I've read the first 3 issues. I'm actually waiting for that big trade paperback of it for the rest of it because I want to read it on print. I like reading comics on print better. What else they got going? And of course, Alt Heroes still going. Alt Heroes number 5, I think, is going to come out next week. So I mean, we're really just cranking it. So
that's sweet. It's funny because I've been working so much, not only on your project, but other art projects of my own, publishing projects as well, that I'm falling way behind in reading and knowing like what's hot right now and what's going on. So I need to kind of pop over to your page once in a while and kind of get plugged back in.
I pretty much just buy everything Chuck does. And if you do that, because Chuck comes out with almost a book a week as it is, I mean, he's pretty nutty. You'll follow a lot, and he's got a lot of different artists he works with, so you'll go follow a lot there. And his model is what I want to do too. Like I want to have 10 artists that I work with all the time, and just keep crank them out. And so we'll get there.
That's cool. So I mean, I've got a lot of Golden Age characters as well. I don't know, maybe sometime we can work something out with those guys as well. There's all kinds of cool stuff to work with. That's the beauty of that world, is it's this giant menu of really interesting characters. A lot of them seem to have like a very strong patriotic theme, I've noticed.
Yeah.
You got to figure like the 30s, 40s.
They were pushing that for the war, And I like the very strong patriotic themes, unironically so, right?
So there's just a lot going on. On a technical side, getting back to the artwork stuff. You're
actually pretty fast.
I'm trying. I'm in between jobs, and I'm just trying to take advantage of that. The new job that I have is like full-time pay at part-time hours, so it's just a heaven sent that I got this, because then I can continue dedicating time to my comics-related work and other types of things. It's pretty sweet. So, but if we're going to end up doing, like, say, an Indiegogo or something like that, and I'm giving pages away to people who are donating, I have a technique where I draw the page in pencil, and then I use a light table. This is traditional way to do it, and I ink it on the back. And so then what I'll do is I'll scan it, and then in Photoshop flip it back over.
Wow.
Do it, whatever, and then send it to you to have it sent to the colorist and the letterer. So that's
really interesting. Like, I had no idea. I figured you just ink on top of the pencils. No?
It saves you it saves you paper. You can, I don't mind at all inking on top of the pencils, but really what ends up happening is you have to do a ton of erasing, and that's consuming and potentially sometimes can smear the ink a bit, so it potentially can create problems. It's just, I figure from my point of view, I'm, not really famous yet, so I just doing this because it saves time and money. It's just a different.
Yeah, that's great. Well, that's perfect. Why not? So cool. Learn something new every day.
Yeah, and I'm always looking for new processes. I actually just bought it's a Touch Pro Microsoft laptop, and I haven't had time.
It starts digitally.
Yeah, I'm trying to go digital, I guess, just ultimately to save time, because you go right onto the screen of your computer, bang, bang, bang. You can do layers, and then just email it. I don't have to go to Kinko's, or I don't have to do all kinds of acrobatics with the light table or what have you. But
Yeah,
it's really, for a traditional guy like me, it is just so hard to like drawing on a tablet. It's like, I think from a lot of people kind of ask about that. You can make work that looks just gorgeous and delicious, and it looks organic, but the experience of making it is like, it's kind of through a glass, and it lacks that tactile quality. It's hard to explain, but I figure, just as far as like saving time, and of course I invested the money. I'll have to get around to that eventually.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, I'm past the end of my lunch hour because of the busy stuff. So I think this was a good discussion.
I'll talk to you again. That's 5 minutes.
Because I know you're starting like a job during the day. So we'll do once we're getting ramped up with this book. I'm still not sure of the plan. I've talked to Don about this a lot because I don't know that it makes sense to do an Indiegogo for 24 pages, so we might expand it or whatever. I'm still not sure of the plan. I just know I'm going to get the colors done and get it done, and then figure it out. I know December is just a terrible time for this sort of thing anyway, so it's like we got time to figure it out.
That's true. That's a good point.
And we want to maximize this because this is going to be a lot of fun. So we're gonna have more of this, and I love it. I mean, unfortunately, like Flying Sparks and all that, like Jethro, like barely speaks English, so it's like I can't do this with him. But we can have actual streams like where we just set up the camera while you're drawing and stuff like that, and
totally
have some fun, and would love to watch that too.
Yeah, I actually have some Logitech cameras that I can kind of put around the studio somewhere, and I have to kind of figure out how to do that. But it's easy to do. We'll figure it out. And I would love to be on your show more often too. That'd be a blast. I really enjoy your show. You guys get into some really good, juicy discussions, and I have a lot to contribute and a lot to say.
Yeah, we'll give you some political discussions too. I know, scary stuff.
I have like a dual identity online as well, and I mean it kind of always depends on who you're talking to.
The best part about you is that you get banned from Facebook or suspended from Facebook more than anybody else I know. Like it's such a regular thing.
I'm definitely a shitlord. There's no doubt about it. But I've counted. Not counting the 1 week gigs where they throw you in for a week, but I've had 8 non-consecutive months in Facebook jail in the past, like maybe, I guess, year and a half or something, or 2 years, I should say.
Yeah.
So I don't. For me, it's the feeling like our country and the West is in grave danger. We've got to get the word out. And of course, so many people are just seeing through this filter of nonsense and ego and fake news. And I don't like fighting. I'm not mean-spirited. I'm never, ever trying to hurt anybody. I try to engage people in intelligent conversation backed up with data, but some people lose their minds when you do that, like the joke. And they report you, and Facebook goes, "Oh my God, you mean you have a problem with like cars running over crowds of people in Christmas markets? You're insane. We have to block you," or some shit like that. So it's tiresome, but we gotta save the West.
Fight the good fight,
my man. All right.
Thanks for joining us. Make sure to check out. I put the goldencomics.webs.com so you can read some of his work in the links there, and you guys saw the other links that I posted for him too. So
I'll give you my Facebook page as well. I have like an art page that I'll throw you that in a minute. Okay.
Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for coming by, even though Katrina wasn't here, everybody. That was my fault because Katrina was totally planning on being here and was texting me off the hook while I was on the phone.
Is she mad at me?
It's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's my fault. It's always my fault.
Yeah. She's not your girlfriend. You don't have to say that. You know.
Well, she's co-host, whatever, same thing.
Oh, well, God bless.
You just get all the bad parts without the benefits, right? Yeah.
Awesome.
We love women here on the lunch stream. We think women are fantastic.
Oh, we adore it.
I'm going to end this before it gets really bad and I get in trouble. So,
okay, all right.
All right. Cheers. See ya.